Good morning, everyone, and thank you to each and every one of you for being here. A warm welcome to our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer. General, you continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with law enforcement, giving us the tools and the assistance we need to safeguard our Florida communities. This case is yet another example of how successful we can be under your leadership. Thanks for being here in Tampa today. Also, if you give me just a minute, I want to welcome and express some gratitude for some folks that were instrumental in the case that we're announcing today. Major Fred Hinderman with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, Assistant Chief Michael Connors, Lieutenant Michael Kirshner, and Sergeant Kelly Anderson with the Clay County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Matsui, Detective Hackney, Detective Titcomb with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Detective Spencer Hubble with Pasco Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Amy Corlett with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and Detective Eric Brown, Supervisory Special Agent Joshua Rios, Special Agent Jackson Thade with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and two of our corporate partners, Mr. Art Lazo, Vice President of Asset Protection with Speedway 7-Eleven, and Mr. Kelly Harriton, Director of Asset Protection with Racetrack. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Every single individual that I've announced their presence here today, and their organizations, along with organizations, some of them that weren't able to be here today, were instrumental, critical in the dismantling of an organized criminal enterprise that was responsible for 350 diesel fuel thefts at 70 locations throughout 70 different locations at 13 different counties. Let me repeat that because I butchered it up. These individuals are responsible for 350 diesel fuel thefts at 70 locations within 13 counties across this great state. They're responsible for stealing and the theft of 185,000 gallons of diesel fuel with a retail value of about a $650,000 loss. Their crime spree is now over. Operation Van Diesel started about 6 months ago. Our office was notified from some fuel centers here in Hillsborough County that they had discrepancy of fuel on hand. Fuel that was supposed to be on hand versus what was actually on hand. The case was turned over to our organized crime unit, who immediately observed that this was a trend. This wasn't just a single theft, it was multiple thefts. Cooperating with several agencies throughout the state of Florida, saw that this was a trend that was occurring throughout Florida, and you'll see that on the map that's being shown. So as they're conducting surveillance and working with every partner that you see here, they started identifying a trend. Most of the thefts occurred late at night. They would pull up in a van, usually a Dodge or Chrysler van, sometimes pull in a trailer, sometimes not, and they would pull on top of the covers, the metal covers that cover the in-ground storage diesel fuel tanks. They would move the piece of metal, whatever they had, in the floor with these makeshift tanks, 500-gallon tanks in these vans, and they would lower their pump into the tank and within minutes could steal 500 gallons of diesel fuel. They would then take this fuel to large tractor storage facilities and sell the fuel for $2 a gallon. $2 a gallon when the national average is about $3.74 a gallon. So about a 50% discount to whatever customer they could find. Now think about the theft that's occurred. Yes, these corporate centers and fuel centers have lost that income. They are the victims. But this isn't a victimless crime. Think about every honest operator who now has to pay more at the pump because of these thefts. Even more so, let's talk about the safety of these makeshift tanks in these vans and trailers. that hold 500 gallons. These individuals, these criminals were out driving around on our Florida roadways where our families drive. A simple traffic crash could have been catastrophic. General Uthmeyer and his office of the statewide prosecution's office has been instrumental. They assisted and helped us obtain 103 search warrants and 41 subpoenas that resulted in the arrest and the issuance of 11 arrest warrants. 10 out of 11 of these individuals have been placed under arrest. 8 of them have already been extradited back to Hillsborough County. And here we go again. 7 of them have no lawful standing here in the United States. 4 of them, when we arrested them, were also served with arrest warrants from previous diesel fuel thefts. They face a litany of felony charges, with the most egregious being racketeering. I want to take just a minute and thank the Organized Crime Task Force. This is some good old-fashioned police work. But by doing good old-fashioned police work, it takes a lot of sacrifice, it takes a lot of diligent and tireless efforts. And here we are again standing in front of a podium talking to the men and women of the Organized Crime Task Force and announcing the success of this dismantling of a criminal enterprise because of your hard work and your sacrifice. Job well done, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I want to turn the podium over to Attorney General Uthmeyer. Again, General, you have rapidly established yourself as a force multiplier, delivering on your priority and steadfast commitment to protecting every Floridian. General, I'll turn the podium over to you.
You see these big cities across the country right now that are struggling with crime, turning down the president's offer to come in and help prevent crime. It seems senseless to want to turn away help when you have murder after murder after murder happening in a lot of these cities like Chicago. You know where that's not happening? Right here in Tampa, Florida. This is a big city. There is not a crime problem. And it's because of this guy right here. It's because of the leadership of the sheriff, his wonderful team, and all the law enforcement partners standing here behind me and up and down the state. In Florida, we enforce the law. It's just that simple. And today is another great example of enforcing the law. I want to thank the Organized Crime Unit. Seems like we were just here a few weeks ago for their continued good work. Again, this is revealing how a lot of crime is directly tied to the open border crisis. This wasn't an effort to go find a bunch of illegals. Yes, we're doing that too. But this was an effort to take down a sophisticated organized crime ring. And then lo and behold, all these guys are not U.S. citizens. 6 of the 7 got through under the Biden parole program, where they just handed you a piece of paper with some court date several years out, and maybe you show up, maybe you don't. Another one got through just completely undetected, a getaway. All these individuals have been working together across many counties. They thought they could get rich by cheating our laws. And instead, they're going to be looking at a long time behind bars before they're ultimately deported back where they came from. But rest assured, they will be held accountable here first before they're sent back home. Today also am pleased to announce that we are going to be issuing both criminal and civil subpoenas against White Hawk carriers. You might remember the recent incident down in southeast Florida where you had an illegal alien who was given a trucker's license, a CDL license, by both Washington and California. He engaged in a very dangerous U-turn that ultimately cost 3 people their lives. In Florida, we don't just talk the talk. We're going to use every tool, every legal tool at our disposal to fight back and protect our citizens. So today we'll be issuing these subpoenas against the employer of this individual. As a reminder, this guy did not know how to speak English. He could not read road signs. He never should have received that CDL license in the first place. Not only was he illegally here in the country, but he also did not have the competency, the skill set. There's no way he went through the proper training in order to get this license. In addition, we've sent legal demands to both states, Washington and California, to get as much information as possible in how this individual obtained these licenses and how many other illegal aliens who do not speak English, who do not have the competency to drive such large commercial vehicles, how many of them are out on the roads endangering American families. So we'll have a legal fight ahead of us, no doubt. These sanctuary states, for whatever reason, want to double down and protect criminals, but we will continue to fight the good fight, and we will prevail. So again, thanks to the sheriff for having me. Another great success in cracking down on bad guys that want to steal from our families. We'll hold them accountable, and we'll keep this state safe, strong, and free. Thank you.
Thank you, General Uthmeyer. At this time, I'd like to invite to the podium Art Lazo, Vice President of Asset Protection for Speedway 7-Eleven.
Thank you, Sheriff. Well, Art Lazo with 7-Eleven. I first off just really want to express our gratitude to Sheriff Chronister, to the Attorney General. Just fantastic collaboration all the way across the board. On August 5th, the Organized Crime Task Force executed a major operation, traveling across multiple counties to carry out arrests and search warrants. And thanks to their efforts and the support of Clay County, Jacksonville, Orange County, Osceola, Palm Beach, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, these individuals were arrested with charges including racketeering, conspiracy, money laundering, and another suspect has been arrested since that date on the 5th. I do want to recognize within my own team at 7-Eleven, Investigator Jessica Garcia, who played a key role in uncovering and documenting these thefts. Her work helped link 136 separate incidents across 46 stores and multiple brands, totaling more than 55,000 gallons of stolen diesel, a loss of over $200,000. The collaboration was key from the beginning. We worked closely with investigators at Racetrack. I want to thank Investigator Katie McCroskey and Kelly and his team for their openness and collaboration. This kind of teamwork across retailers is essential when facing organized crime. Looking ahead, we're committed to continuing this collaboration with law enforcement and our peers in the industry to pursue theft to the highest degree of the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lazo. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Kelly Harrington, Director of Asset Protection for Racetrack.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly Harrington, and I'm the Director of Asset Protection for Racetrack, Inc. I'm honored to stand here today representing Racetrack alongside of General Uthmeyer, Sheriff Chronister, and many other law enforcement professionals from across the state of Florida. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Racetrack, since no state has more racetracks than the Sunshine State with over 250 locations. We've called Atlanta home since 1976, and we're set to unveil our 600th store in the company this fall. I've served as Racetrack's Director of Asset Protection for several years, since 2022, and I can assure you that our company places the safety and well-being of our guests and team members as our top priority. Any criminal activity doesn't just hurt Racetrack and the communities that we faithfully serve, but it creates real safety risk for our team members and our guests. Typically, our company's interactions with law enforcement across the 14 states that we serve involve responses to various crimes, and we thank them and appreciate those relationships for the thankless work that they do to protect our stores, our team members, and our guests. But today is a good day. Today we are celebrating and sharing how the relationships we've developed with state leadership, various law enforcement agencies, and private sector partners have helped curb a fuel theft crime ring. This prosecution is one of the largest statewide cases of its kind, dismantling a criminal network of fuel thieves who have severely impacted Florida businesses, communities, and taxpayers. I want to give a special thanks to Racetrack's corporate investigator, Katie McCroskey, for her tenacity and persistence in this case, spanning nearly 18 months of investigation, tying together dozens and dozens of impacts across numerous stores. I also want to thank our 7-Eleven partners, Investigator Garcia, and the leadership of Art for their team's contributions and partnerships on this case. The strong leadership of the Governor's Office, the AG's Office, the Office of Statewide Prosecution, the sheriffs and law enforcement professionals across the state of Florida, They're sending a strong message that there's a zero-tolerance policy for organized retail crime and threats to our critical infrastructure. On behalf of our company and the thousands of team members who serve Floridians day in and day out, we want to thank you to everyone who made this victory possible.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. At this time, we'll take any questions.
Do you know how long this may have been going on for?
Certainly longer than the 6 months. I think it took some time to catch up for these retailers to discover the fact that they had such large discrepancies. Not 5 gallons, 10 gallons here, but 500,000 gallons. Sometimes they'd visit the same store, and their method of operation would be go late at night. And the tanks are usually stationed away. And here's the reason why. You can't have them close to the dispensary tanks or the pumps, because every time a tanker would pull in, it would shut the business down. So, they took advantage of these obstacles, but it would happen late at night, and this is when they would discover these large discrepancies in the fuel, but did a phenomenal job. Immediately upon discovering it, started making that notification. Hey, something's not right here. Will you come help us take a look? And again, I thank the Organized Crime Task Force Unit, again, for starting dive in our cooperative efforts here with our corporate partners and every law enforcement agency you see here that weren't territorial over the 13 counties at 70 different locations, and said, hey, how can we help? Let's pull surveillance video. Let's start issuing subpoenas and doing search warrants and do it the proper way to build such a successful case. The dismantling of this entire criminal enterprise is a result of a lot of great effort, a cooperative effort across the whole state of Florida.
You mentioned 10 of the 11 have been arrested. Are you still looking for that 11th person people who are still?
We are. We've arrested 10 out of 11. 8 have been extradited back to Hillsborough County. The 11th one, I feel we're very close. We've been getting a lot of help and assistance down in South Florida, and hopefully within the next day or two we'll be announcing that he's under arrest and on his way back too. Thank you, everyone. Have a great and safe day. Thank you. Thanks for making the trip.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Those of you who don't know our Attorney General, please introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Please.
Hi, Katie Frosky. Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Really appreciate it.
James.
Thanks for
Eric.
Carlin.
Yeah, good to see you again. Good to see you guys. Busy, huh? Yeah. Thanks for making it out. Yes, sir. Absolutely. We're affiliates for the ORC. Did they watch it?
No, I think you're 8-5.
Yes.